Environment reform. Joining me is the peak body for the gas producers, the Australian Energy Producers CEO, Samantha McCulloch. Samantha, thanks for your time. You'd be watching the talks this week at Parliament, obviously encouraging politicians to get a deal done, but you would prefer the government to do a deal with the coalition than the Greens.
Well, thanks, Kieran, and absolutely. We know that the current environmental reform process is broken. We all agree that we need these reforms. But what the Greens are proposing in terms of carving out gas essentially from these reforms is just simply not in the national interest. It's actually going to add to the delays and the costs that we're seeing in bringing new gas to market at a time that it's urgently needed. So we're absolutely urging the coalition and the government to work together on a balanced deal that's actually in the national interest.
I had the Environment Minister on the program yesterday and asked him about this carve-out as part of an amendment he's put in talks with the Greens, saying, you know, are you going to carve out gas projects when we will need gas projects and more of them? He said that he didn't think it was that relevant to major projects like that. The streamlining of it, that major fossil fuel projects would always have to still tick the box when it comes to environmental approval. What do you make of that?
Well, Kieran, we think all projects should be assessed on their merits, and we shouldn't be carving out particular sectors or particular projects from these reforms. Now, we've got the ACCC, we've got the energy market operator calling for the removal of barriers to getting new gas supply into the market. And then on the other hand, we've got the Greens trying to use the EPBC reform process to actually delay these projects. So it's irresponsible, it's not in the national interest. We would like to see reforms that provide that certainty for investment and that are durable. That's what Australia needs now.
And would you urge the coalition to get on board and do a deal this week? The minister wants a deal done.
Look, we'd like to see a deal done this week, certainly with the coalition, but it's got to be the right deal. So we need a deal that's in the interests of the environment, but that's also addressing the concerns of business that we're seeing around lengthy and uncertain approvals.
Okay, so are there any other red lines that you've notified the government and opposition of?
So certainly we think with some amendments, the current package could be passed in a way that business would be comfortable with and our members would be comfortable with. So what we're looking for is really certainty around those approvals processes. We need streamlined approvals, including accreditation of the states. The duplication and the delays that we're seeing are just unworkable, and they're actually impacting our ability to attract new investment.
And would undermine the whole process.
It does. I mean, when we're talking about gas projects, again, at a time where we're urgently needing new gas into the market, we've got approvals that are taking twice as long as they used to. We've got members in some cases spending, for example, millions of dollars on a snail relocation program when there were no snails. So that's just an example of those sort of red tape and unnecessary regulatory burden that these reforms should be addressing.
Okay, yes, indeed. And we've seen that CPI number today. In the energy prices up over 30% year on year. How do we get the prices down, in your view?
Well, the sustainable way to get prices down is to have more energy in the market. And in our case, when we're looking at the gas market, you know, we are seeing forecasts of shortfalls. We're a gas-rich nation that's potentially facing gas shortfalls. We need to be investing in new gas supply, bringing new gas to market sooner. And that's why actually these environmental reforms are really important in terms of putting downward pressure on gas prices.
Samantha McCulloch from the Australian Energy Producers, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kieran.